Have you ever stopped to think that the person who calls themselves your friend might actually be manipulating you? Psychopaths aren't just in movies or TV shows. Many are very close to us, hidden behind friendly faces and charismatic behavior. They can turn your life into a true nightmare, often without you even noticing. In this content, I'm going to show you how they think, how they behave, and most importantly, how you can protect yourself. The psychology behind the psychopathic mind can open your eyes to signs you once overlooked. Imagine meeting someone who seems perfect, charming, self-assured, with a captivating smile that lowers any guard. The friendship starts, but over time, small lies appear. You choose to ignore them. After all, everyone makes mistakes, right? But little by little, you find yourself entangled in a web of manipulation, and then you realize that person never had empathy, never felt remorse. You were just a pawn in their game. Psychopaths are experts at disguising who they really are. As specialist Robert Hare noted, not all of them are serial killers. Many live among us are silent, calculating, using their skills to control, deceive, and exploit. Understanding how these minds work is crucial to avoid becoming another victim. Social psychopaths lie, manipulate, coerce, and in extreme cases, take lives without feeling any guilt. According to Hare, around 1% of the global population may be psychopaths. Psychologist Martha Stout believes this number could be as high as 4%. They are everywhere, especially in positions of power, in the corporate world, politics, and even in close social circles. Unfortunately, clinical psychopathy is still under-researched compared to other disorders, despite causing immense emotional and social harm. The lack of conscience is what sets these individuals apart from most of us. While we feel guilt when we hurt someone, the psychopath moves forward without looking back. Cases like Ted Bundy or Charles Manson are extreme and draw attention because of the violence. But most psychopaths operate in much more subtle ways. They manipulate family members, embezzle money, lie incessantly, exploit the trust of others, all while never being discovered or held accountable. As Martha Stout describes in her book The Sociopath Next Door, many psychopaths live among us disguised as ordinary people, making it difficult for us to identify them. In this material, we will dive into the minds of these social predators and understand how to protect ourselves, because knowledge, the more than fear, is the best weapon against them. Psychopaths, the void behind the mask. Psychopaths lack conscience, empathy, or remorse. For them, feelings like love and friendship have no real value. They are just words that can be used to achieve their goals. People are seen as tools, something to use while it's useful and then discard. It is precisely this emotional vacuum that allows the psychopath to repeat acts of cruelty without hesitation or guilt. Specialist Robert Hare emphasizes how disturbing it is, even for experienced professionals, to hear the coldness with which a psychopath talks about cruel acts as if they were trivial. The suffering of others simply doesn't matter to them. In many cases, their lives are marked by self-destructive behaviors, addictions to alcohol, drugs, sex, or other extreme risks. But above all, what truly fascinates them is power. This desire for control is present in all areas: crime, the corporate world, or politics. The psychopathic mind is obsessed with manipulating people and dominating situations. Understanding this mindset is essential for identifying them, and more importantly, protecting ourselves. Psychologist Martha Stout explains that for a psychopath, the task is always to maintain control over the prize, which can range from something simple like a free lunch to something much more complex, like absolute dominance over a person or group. But the pattern is always the same: making others dance to their tune. She delves deeper into this analysis in her book, The Sociopath Next Door. Robert Hare also recounts the case of a psychopath named Earl, whose obsession with absolute power reveals the core of psychopathic thinking. People only have value as long as they can be used as tools to achieve goals. Psychopaths constantly assess how to exploit those around them. Although this behavior may seem destructive to us, many psychopaths see it as an advantage. Some even claim that their condition is a blessing, as the absence of emotional attachments Guilt or empathy makes them more effective in a world they consider competitive and cruel. It is therefore no surprise that efforts to rehabilitate psychopaths have proven ineffective. As Hare observes, many experts agree that the chapter on the treatment of psychopathy in any book should be as brief as possible, because in practice, nothing works. These individuals are true masters of disguise. They hide their true nature behind what experts call the mask of sanity. On the outside, they appear absolutely normal, often more charming, confident, and sociable than the average person. This charisma is part of their game. Neil Jones, in his article Cobra in the Grass, compares this behavior to that of an Australian spider that mimics ants to infiltrate their colonies. It does not devour all the ants at once. It feeds slowly, silently. Psychopaths act similarly. They infiltrate groups, organizations, and families, manipulating and slowly consuming their victims. Part of the magnetism of these individuals comes from their low sensitivity to fear, stress, and anxiety. They lie easily about their past, their accomplishments, and their intentions. Their gestures, tone of voice, and words are often almost hypnotic. Many people who have been involved with a psychopath report feeling an intense and immediate connection, as if they were in the presence of the most charismatic person they had ever met. And it is precisely this initial charm that opens the door to chaos. Cracks in the psychopath's mask. For years, psychopaths have been playing the same game, silent, calculated, invisible to most, until it's too late. They camouflage themselves in normality, pretend emotions, follow routines, wear the mask of sanity. But, as Martha Stout reveals in her book The Sociopath Next Door, this mask has cracks, and if we know where to look, we can see them. One of the most evident cracks is their excessive ego. As expert Robert Hare points out, these individuals have an almost caricatural inflated self-esteem. They act as if they are above the world's laws, as if nothing and no one can touch them. Extremely self-centered, they believe they are always right, and that everything is owed to them. Another disturbing sign lies in their gaze. Many report that looking into a psychopath's eyes is like staring into something inhuman, a reptile, cold and empty. It doesn't matter if they're happy or furious, the gleam remains the same, fixed, cold, intense. This gaze immediately triggers discomfort, chills, and has even led to bizarre theories about reptilians. In reality, it's simply the reflection of the profound emotional void they carry. Often, those in the presence of a psychopath feel intimidated without knowing why. It's almost an instinctive sensation, a subtle but real unease. Another clue is the way they express themselves. Psychopaths often have difficulty maintaining a coherent narrative. They jump from one subject to another, give vague or disconnected answers. When pressed, they avoid the topic, change the subject, or provide responses unrelated to the question. Robert Hare addresses this point in his book Without Conscience, emphasizing how difficult it is to get a direct answer from a psychopath. Additionally, many resort to theatrical and dramatic gestures while speaking, exaggerated arm movements, intense facial expressions as if every word needs to be performed. For researchers, this may reflect an artificial way of processing emotions. But it's also a strategy to divert attention from their lies or contradictions. In one of his evaluations, Hare described the case of a psychopath who accompanied his story with broad gestures and expressions so convincing that he even deceived the interviewer. It was all performance. But the question remains, what makes someone like this? To this day, the causes of psychopathy are not fully understood. Most studies suggest a genetic origin, meaning it's not the environment that creates a psychopath, but rather their very nature. They are born different. What the world does after that may only shape how this coldness manifests. When psychopaths rise to power, the silent threat. Martha Stout, psychologist and author of The Sociopath Next Door, highlights something unsettling. There is no solid evidence linking the lack of empathy in psychopaths to childhood trauma. In fact, they seem to be less affected by life's hardships, and this is precisely what sets them apart. While many of us break down under pressure, they remain cold and unaffected. And it's in this trait that the danger lies. The influence of psychopaths in society is growing, especially in today's world, marked by political centralization, authoritarian governments, and increasingly invasive technologies that make mass control easier than ever. Such environments are fertile ground for psychopaths to rise to the top. They are charismatic manipulators, without empathy, without fear, and with an extraordinary ability to understand the rules of the social game just to exploit them. They feel no remorse. They know exactly what to say, when to smile, how to appear trustworthy, and they do it masterfully. Polish psychiatrist Andrzej Łobachewski, in his work on psychopathy and politics, coined the term pathocracy, or pathocratia, to describe a system of government dominated by psychopathic individuals. According to him, unless we become aware of the dangers posed by these predators, we risk seeing such regimes becoming more and more common. Łobachewski warned, when a pathological minority takes control of a society composed mostly of ordinary people, the true collapse begins. Culture, science, morality, freedom, governance, and everything starts to weaken. Healthy growth within society is paralyzed. Fear spreads. Empathy disappears. Even worse, when individuals with psychopathic traits rise to power, they can trigger what he called a psychopathic epidemic. Ordinary people in prolonged contact with these figures begin to adopt cold, cruel, and dehumanized behaviors, even without realizing it. This is the risk. Silent, invisible, but real. And if you've made it this far, I must thank you. From the bottom of my heart. It's not easy to dive into this topic. It's dense, uncomfortable, but necessary. The fact that you've made it to the end speaks volumes. Perhaps you're looking to protect yourself, maybe someone you love, or perhaps you just want to better understand the shadows that reside in the human mind. Whatever the reason, know this. This knowledge can truly change your life. And more, you are not alone. This channel exists precisely so we can recognize these invisible traps, so we can strengthen ourselves, and together create a space of protection and truth, for us and for those we love. If you've made it this far, allow me to say, you are unique. In a world that distracts us every second, you chose to stop, listen, and reflect. This is more powerful than it seems, because contrary to what many say, thinking is still a revolutionary act. You've just participated in a dialogue, perhaps even with yourself, about how entertainment affects the way we live and connect with the world. Imagine an old library filled with dusty books. Each volume holds a revealing story, secrets from the past, and ideas that shape the future. Now imagine that each of us is like these books. We carry unique wisdom, which deserves to be read, understood, and respected. But in the constant noise of the modern world, we often forget to look within and discover what truly makes us unique. If you've made it this far, it's a sign that you're ready to reclaim that essence, even amid superficiality. Before we move on, I'd like to make an invitation. If this reflection has touched you in any way, subscribe to the channel. It's a way for us to stay connected and return to talking about what really matters, the things that touch the heart and awaken the mind. Also, leave a comment. Your words can inspire others who, just like you, are seeking meaning. And if this content resonated with you, give the video a like. It's a simple gesture, but it makes all the difference in helping more people find this message. Don't underestimate the impact of your choices. It might seem small, but many of the great transformations in history began with a gesture, an idea, a silent courage. Perhaps this reflection is the starting point of something profound in your life. Maybe it will be the spark that ignites a change in those around you. My sincerest gratitude for being here. Not just for watching, but for truly listening. For dedicating your time, the most precious thing we have, to something that may have touched you. If this made sense, share it with someone. Not just because of the video itself, but for the idea it carries. Because ideas, when they find an open mind like yours, have the power to transform the world. Remember, change starts like this, with small thoughts that, like drops, eventually form the flow of a river. Thank you for being part of this journey. This video may be ending, but our conversation is far from over. Here next to the video, you'll find the next 2 steps to dive even deeper into this reflection. I won't tell you what comes next, but I can guarantee they are connections that might surprise you. Click on one of them. I'll be waiting for you there so we can continue walking together.